Hey guys, welcome back to Fun Cooking, and today is another day of 30 days of Thanksgiving. Today we're going to make this homemade cornbread from scratch, not a box, not a mix, but from items you should have in your pantry. Look how thick that is. Not only does it look amazing, it tastes amazing. However, we're not making this necessarily to eat, we're making it as an ingredient for a future show. So I hope you'll stick around to see how we make the first step of the future show. Okay guys, so the ingredients we are going to be using today will be buttermilk, shortening, vegetable oil, eggs, baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder, salt, all-purpose flour, and ground cornmeal. You want to make sure you have ground cornmeal and not cornbread mix. Cornbread mix has all the dry ingredients in there together. It's like a bag instead of a box of Jiffy cornbread. First thing we want to do is preheat our oven to 400 degrees, and then we want to put our shortening into a skillet, a cast iron skillet. A lot of people will make this in a baking dish and you just will not get the desired crust. Then I'm going to take this and put it in my oven and let it melt and heat while we do the rest of this. While the skillet is being prepped, we're going to take our flour, our salt, our baking powder, and we're going to mix all of these together. I probably should have had a bigger bowl, but it is what it is. If you would prefer, you could use a sifter, but that can be a lot more messy. Okay, now that we've got this mixed, we want to form a little well in the center. Then we're going to take our eggs. We're going to put them in this bigger bowl, just so we can whisk them up just a little bit. And then we're going to add our buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, you can use regular milk. And our oil. You want to mix your wet ingredients separately to get them well combined, because you don't want to overstir the flour mixture because it'll make your cornbread tough. Okay, now I'm just going to slowly add in the liquid. I'm just going to stir this enough to get all of the dry ingredients wet. Remember, be gentle with it because you don't want tough cornbread. Okay, I'm going to switch to a spoon now, because everything is just clumping in the center of this whisk. So I'm going to push all the dough out, and then just use a spoon and finish mixing this together. I think I'm going to need just a little more milk. I forgot I increased the dry ingredients, but not the liquid. So there is going to be a chance my cornbread will be a little tougher than I want, but it'll be alright. Okay, I'm going to let this sit for about 5 minutes while the skillet finishes warming, and I'll bring you back when the skillet's ready. Okay, so I've removed the skillet from the oven, and I do believe it's ready, and I'm going to carefully pour this batter in, being careful not to splash myself with the hot grease. And it's this hot grease that's going to flash cook the edges, making them nice and crunchy. Now I'm going to put this back in the oven and let it cook for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until the top is nice and golden brown and a toothpick comes out of the center nice and clean. And at that point, I'll bring you back and show you how it looks. Okay, the timer just went off. Let me pull this bread out and see how it looks. I don't have a toothpick handy. But wait, but I do have a skewer. Looks good. Sounds good. So I'm going to let this cool for just a minute or so. I'm going to need this knife after all. I'm just going to run this around the edge to make sure it isn't sticking to the edge. I'm going to pull out a cooling rack. We'll set it on top. We'll see if we can severely burn ourselves or drop the bread in the floor. Ta-da! No sticks. Now I'm going to burn my fingers by flipping this back over. Not too bad. We're just going to let it cool for 5 minutes or so, and then I'll bring it back so we can take a bite. Okay, so our bread has had time to cool, and I'm going to transfer it to this plate so we can give it a taste. Now look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? Let me go ahead and cut this open so we can slather in some butter. It's a thick piece of cornbread. Maybe I shouldn't have put so much batter in the pan, but that's okay. We have other uses planned for this. It's really good. It's nice and tender. It didn't get tough on us like I was afraid it would. The bottom edge is nice and crispy. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's worth giving a try. As for the rest of this, I'm going to leave it out overnight because I want it to go stale. In an upcoming video, we're going to make a dressing mix instead of buying the prepackaged stuff, and I need this to be stale. So I hope you'll come back and see how we make that dressing mix. We've had a late entry, so now there's 5 of us that are working in this collaboration, and I hope you'll check their channels out, which you will find in the description box below. So I hope you'll join us tomorrow to see what that brings. Until then, have a good one. As for the rest of this, I'm going to leave it out overnight because I need it to go stale. Let's try that again. We've had a late entry, so now there's 5 of us competing. Until next time,